Hey guys, I have to warn you. This story is going to take us on an emotional roller coaster. It starts with a simple birthday gift, a fun little DNA test, and it ends with a woman standing in the doorway of a house full of strangers who are actually her brothers and sisters. This story spans half a century. It's about secrets, the kind that can shape an entire life. And it's about what happens when the truth finally comes out. Our storyteller's name is Evelyn Carter. And for 50 years, she believed she knew exactly who she was. But the truth, her real truth, had been buried by the people she trusted most. Grab a cup of tea, sit somewhere cozy, because this is the story of how a DNA test exposed 50 years of family secrets and led to a reunion she never could have imagined. Evelyn grew up in the 1970s in a small town in Ohio. If you asked her, she'd tell you her childhood was comfortable, not perfect, not terrible, just ordinary. Her parents, Linda and Robert Carter, were high school sweethearts. They had one child, Evelyn, and they worked hard to give her a stable home. Linda was warm and affectionate, always baking cookies, always volunteering at school. Robert was quieter, a little distant, but dependable. The kind of dad who made sure your car had gas and your bike had air in the tires, even if he wasn't great at saying, "I love you." Evelyn grew up never doubting they were her parents. She didn't look particularly like either of them, but families are like that sometimes. She had Linda's smile, people said, Robert's nose. No one ever questioned it, not even Evelyn. Decades went by. She graduated high school, went to college, had a daughter of her own. Life moved forward, steady and predictable. Until her 50th birthday. That was the day everything changed. For her 50th birthday, Evelyn's daughter bought her a DNA test from Ancestry DNA. It was meant to be fun, a way to learn about their heritage, maybe discover if those old family rumors about Irish roots were true. They sat at the kitchen table laughing as Evelyn spit into the tiny tube. No one gave it a second thought. Weeks later, the email arrived. Your DNA results are ready. Evelyn logged in, curious and excited. She clicked View Matches, and her excitement turned to confusion. Her ethnicity estimate was fine, mostly English, some Scottish, but her DNA matches didn't make sense. None of the surnames she expected from her father's side were there. No Carters, no cousins she recognized from family reunions, no one even remotely close to the people she thought were her paternal relatives. Instead, the top of her match list was filled with strangers, and one of them stood out immediately. Thomas Hill, listed as a close family match, sharing 1,630 centimorgans. Evelyn froze. She had no idea who Thomas Hill was, but the amount of shared DNA meant he could be a half-brother. Her heart started to race, and for the first time in 50 years, a quiet thought whispered at the back of her mind. What if Dad isn't my dad? If you're happy with this tone and pacing, I'll continue with scenes 4, 6 next. The investigation, the half-brother, and the mother's secret. The heart of the story. Excellent. Let's continue with the next 3 scenes. Evelyn sat staring at her laptop long after the screen dimmed. Her hands were trembling. She had always trusted her family's story. So why was a stranger showing up as a close family member? She clicked on Thomas Hill's profile. It showed they shared enough DNA to be half-siblings or possibly an uncle-nephew relationship. But his age listed in the public family tree made it clear Thomas was only 5 years older than her. So, half-brother. The thought made her chest tighten. She checked the Shared Matches tab, and her confusion deepened. Every single high match was connected to Thomas's family tree. There were no matches at all from her dad Robert Carter's side. None of the Carters she grew up with, the cousins she played with every summer, were appearing as relatives. It was like someone had erased half her family. Evelyn's mind was spinning. Was this a glitch? A mistake? She decided she needed help. Someone who knew how to read these results. That night, after pacing her living room for hours, she reached out to a volunteer group she found online, DNA Angels, a team of search angels who help people interpret their DNA results and build family trees. She typed out a shaky message. I just found out I may have a half-brother. Can someone help me figure this out? And with that, she hit send and waited. 2 days later, Evelyn got a reply. A search angel named Brenda offered to review her DNA results. Within minutes of looking, Brenda confirmed what Evelyn feared. Robert Carter was not her biological father. Brenda explained the centimorgan numbers, how Evelyn shared too much DNA with Thomas to be anything except a half-sibling, and how not a single Carter relative appeared in her matches. It was definitive. Evelyn felt like the floor had dropped out from under her. Robert had raised her, loved her in his quiet way, and yet, genetically, they were strangers. But who was her real father? And how was Thomas connected? Brenda suggested Evelyn reach out to Thomas. At first, Evelyn resisted. What would she even say? "Hi, you don't know me, but a DNA test says we share a father?" But curiosity, and a deep, aching need for truth, pushed her forward. She wrote a short message. "Hi, Thomas. This might sound strange, but a DNA test shows we are very closely related. Would you be open to talking?" An hour later, he replied, "I was wondering if you'd contact me. I saw your name on my match list. Yes, I'd like to talk." They set up a video call. When the screen connected, Evelyn saw a man with kind eyes and the same dimple she saw in her own mirror. They just stared at each other, smiling awkwardly, trying to find words. Thomas explained that he grew up in Chicago, raised by a man named Richard Hill. Richard had passed away in 1999, but Thomas had known since his teens that Richard was his biological father. And that's when the shock hit. Richard Hill had lived in the same Ohio town as Evelyn's mother, Linda, during the exact year Evelyn was conceived. Suddenly, the puzzle pieces were sliding into place. Evelyn sat with her phone in her lap for hours after the call ended. Her heart was pounding for a new reason now. Her mother, Linda, was still alive, 78 years old and living in a retirement community just 20 minutes away. And Evelyn had to ask her the question that might shatter both of them. The next morning, she drove to see her. The whole way there, her mind was screaming, what if she denies it? What if she gets angry? What if this destroys everything? Linda was sitting by the window, knitting. She smiled when Evelyn walked in, until she saw the look on her daughter's face. "Mom, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth." Evelyn showed her the DNA results. She explained about Thomas, about Richard Hill, about the centimorgans and the missing Carter relatives. Linda's hands shook. Her face went pale. She stared at the floor for a long time. Then finally she whispered, "I was 19. Robert and I had broken up for a few months. I met Richard at a dance. It was one night. When I found out I was pregnant, Robert had come back, and he wanted to raise you. So I let him." Evelyn felt tears spill down her face. "Does Dad know?" she asked. Linda shook her head. "No, he never knew. And when he died, I thought the secret died with him." In that moment, everything Evelyn believed about her life shifted. She wasn't Robert Carter's daughter. She was Richard Hill's. And out there, she had a half-brother, and possibly more family she'd never met.